y'all, and welcome to the 11A Day 2 notes. They should be pretty quick. The first thing I want to show you is how to get to the 11A reference sheet. And to find that, you're going to go into STEM, the General channel. All right. And from there, you're going to find the Class Notebook tab. Okay. And once that loads, we're going to go into here to the content library. It should also be in your personal notebooks. So go ahead and go into the content library and go to KC11. And this unit circle reference is what we're looking at. And we are going to scroll over to the unit circle. And remember, you can use this reference for any assignments. All right. And that's the great thing about this. You don't have to memorize like you would if you were in class. This is 120 degrees, right? And if we look around here, we see that 120 degrees is right here. We are given a couple of different sets of information here. So we have 120 degrees equals 2 pi over 3, right? So that's the angle measure in degrees and radians. And then over here, we have an ordered pair. So the ordered pair represents cosine first and sine second. And the way I think about it is it's an alphabetical order, right? So cosine then sine. So the cosine of 120 is, if we look over here, we have 120, right? And we have this ordered pair. And what I would expect you to do, right, is show your work. So draw a unit circle right here. So you're just going to sketch this out here, right? We have 120 degrees right here. And then right here, we have this ordered pair, right? And that's where we're going to write the ordered pair from the graph, which is -1/2, and square root of 3 over 2, right? And from that, we're going to look for cosine, right? Cosine is going to be on the left-hand side, so that's -1/2. So our answer is -1/2. That simple, all right? So that's all you would have to do for each of these. So go ahead and do the other two, and we will then continue, okay? All right, so this is where we should have ended up, okay? So all we're doing, we're just showing that you can use a unit circle. That's the main purpose of today, all right? Now there's one other thing that we're going to learn today. So right here, it asks us to find from this point, right, which is S units away from A10 along a unit circle. We're going to find the exact values for each of these, right? So the first thing here is looking for our cosine and sine. So what's our sine? Well, remember the ordered pair is cosine, comma, sine, right? So just like before, right? This is always going to be true when you see an ordered pair in cosines and sines, all right? All right, so in this case, for our sine, we can go ahead and write this, right? And for our cosine, we can go ahead and write -1/5, all right? Now the tan is the tricky one, right? There's no obvious answer right here what the tangent should be. And to do that, we're going to use a very simple equation. And an easy way to double check that is if we were to look over here, remember SOHCAHTOA, good old days, all right? So if we did sine divided by cosine, right, as a fraction, and we plugged in our values, we have opposite over hypotenuse, right? And then we're going to divide by cosine, right? Divide by cosine. So divided by adjacent over hypotenuse. And now this should be review. What are we going to do when we divide by a fraction? We are going to do keep, change, change, right? And keep, change in this case means that we are going to end up with opposite over hypotenuse. That stays the same, right? A division sign turns into a multiplication sign. And the change over here is that we take it to a reciprocal, right? Multiply by a reciprocal is another way of thinking of it, right? And then to finish this, remember we can join these whenever we're multiplying. These are just two fractions, right? And what do we see on both the top and the bottom? We see an H, right? So we can cancel that out. And what we're left with is opposite over adjacent, right? And opposite over adjacent is tangent, right? So we get full circle to tangent, right? So sine over cosine equals tangent. And that is a good way to prove it. So if I were to ask you for a proof, that's what I would expect, okay? So we are going to plug and chug here. So from tangent, right, we know that our tangent is equal to sine divided by cosine. So we're going to plug in our sine, right? We're going to divide it by our cosine, all right? Put that negative up there for safekeeping. All right, so from here, how would we solve this? Right? Again, with that keep, change, this guy stays the same. This turns into a multiplication, right? Multiplication of 5 over -1, right? And from here, we can simplify, cancel out our 5s, right? And then dividing by -1 means that there's a negative, but the numbers don't change, just the sign. So that would be our final answer. So one of these, this would be the answer I'm looking for right here. All right, if I gave you this question on a quiz homework, I wouldn't ask you about the sine or cosine. You would have to figure that out yourself. Last question, all right? We're going to do the same thing you did up here. So go ahead and try it on your own, and then double check your work with what I write here, okay? All right, and that's it. So this should be a pretty easy problem set. Go ahead and do the practice problems. Make sure you get your assignments in, including Khan Academy, and I will see you on Teams. All right, have a good one, y'all.